All right, so hi everyone. I am Dr. Romey if you don't know me. Most of you will have taken or are taking up to 4 classes with me, but at least 1. And I am a direct assistant professor of musicology here, but I'm also in a role as honors program liaison. So I'm going to speak to you for about 10 minutes today to pitch to you why you should care about the honors program and maybe join. I'm really trying hard to grow this program, and you're going to see some of the numbers in a minute about why that is. So, what is the honors program? I gave a version of this talk last year, but it was during the pandemic, and I think no one watched it unless, like 3 people. So I could see the numbers of views. So what is the honors program? This is from their honors program website, right? Our program encourages you to enrich your academic life by sharing ideas and engaging in academic debate with students and faculty. We aim to provide small classes filled with other driven students like you, ready to take on a challenging curriculum. Teaching these courses are outstanding faculty who encourage creative interaction and active learning. We support honors students with scholarship opportunities, academic opportunities, advising, and a center in Helmke Library dedicated to honors students. And if I read that as an undergrad, I probably would just eyes roll to the back of my head. It's a pretty good description, but it doesn't actually say why you should join the honors program. Unless you're really interested in scholarship opportunities, academic opportunities, advising, it sounds kind of boring, but it's not. I'll tell you why the honors program is not. So why should you join the honors program? Number 1, hi. Number 1, you get an honors certificate if you complete the program, right? So that's nice if you're applying for jobs in the future. This is something that you can put on your CV. Good. That's what we're trying to sell you on, but I would argue that there's a lot more benefits that are probably more impactful in your life than that certificate. The first one is mentorship. Why do we care about mentorship in schools of music? Well, 1, most of you will either be applying for graduate school or, hopefully, some kind of job. Right? Hopefully you're going to get out of here and want to get a job. And I can tell you firsthand experience as a first-generation college student, I didn't have an honors program, but I did have a fellowship for students who wanted to go on to graduate school. I was paired with a musicologist. I did a project with her each semester. And I can tell you my letters got me into grad school. And the reason is because when you're applying for employment or grad school, you need to have letters of recommendation. I know we have a student this last spring who got into a fully funded master's program, which means no money, plus money to be an assistant to a professor to live on, right? That's really good, and you should be striving for that, but they're very competitive. So how do you get those kinds of opportunities? You need a really good letter of recommendation. Not just from me. If you work with me in honors classes, I'm happy to write those letters. What do I get to do if I work with you in the honors program? If I don't, I get to say, well, Jane Doe took a class with me, did a good paper, seems very engaged, was talkative in class, really good. That's great, but there's probably 100 other letters just like that. If you did an honors project with me, I could say, student X is interested in X, Y, and Z. I can see that they're dedicated to their own intellectual development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can really get a depth to the letter that's important, both for employment and for grad school. These are really important things, and you can get a letter from me, you get some from someone in your field, who, if you're music therapy, pop music, whatever, you will take classes with them and you can take them as honors classes, do extra projects, and then get a better letter out of the other side of it, besides the intellectual growth and all that stuff. Also, so, better selling point, I think, from my perspective, is we have scholarships. The honors program has lots of scholarships. After you take 1 3-credit honors class or H-option class, which we'll talk about in a minute, you can then apply every single semester for a scholarship. Now, these scholarships are not for paying your tuition here. I wish they were. They're not. But they are for things like, hey, I'm a music educator and want to go to a music education conference. Or maybe I want to go to a workshop, a recording workshop, and I need some money for funds to travel, some funds to go and stay in a hotel, go to Chicago for the weekend. Sounds like fun. You can get like $1,000 or so a semester just by applying for projects. Now, that's where we were last year, this time, well, January, when I gave this talk last. I've since, honors program director, Farrah Combs, is very supportive of what we're trying to do in the School of Music. And I have talked to her recently that we could use some of the scholarship money as long as it's tied to a project for things like instruments or lessons. Not lessons with faculty that's here, right? This is like, hey, I want to go take a lesson with somebody in Chicago or Cleveland, and I need money for the weekend to pay the lesson, the travel, that stuff. That can be a project. Or I've had students come to me and say, I am a guitar major, and I'm really interested in lute because we've been spending way too much time on Renaissance lute in Dr. Romey's class. Maybe that could be my honors project, is to play lute a little bit, learn how to read tablature, and do a presentation in the class. Hey, you could get a student intermediate lute for about $1,000, and that could be something that you could have as part of your project for the scholarship money to do a future project here. So that's pretty cool from my perspective. That was not acceptable in any program I've ever been in where I could use it to like go get instruments. So I think you should be excited about this, and I'm hoping that that means some of you will decide, maybe I should look into this a little bit more. So what do you need to do to be in honors? There's 3 criteria, right? The first one is you need a 3.5 GPA. That could mean you have a 3.5 GPA in high school and you are a first year and you can enter right in the program. It could also mean, if you were like me and sort of checked out in high school doing other things, it could mean that you could get to college and start your 3.5 GPA on your first semester and then enter, right? It could also mean some of you maybe have a 3.4 GPA and you want to start the honors program, and I have talked to Faircombs, and we've had students who, with the idea that by the end of that semester you will have your GPA at a 3.5, we can make it work for you, right? There's ways that we can work with you. So you need 18 credits of honors or H-option classes. Very briefly, and this is why I'm doing this talk and not just sending lots of emails out from the honors program, there's a list every semester of honors classes. My Music 10500 Soundscapes class that almost everyone here is going to have to take, you could take that as an honors section. Still meets with everybody else, you just register as honors. But most of those classes are like English, chemistry, and if you told me I had to take honors chemistry when I was a music major as an undergrad, that was a deal breaker for me, right? That was not going to happen. You don't have to take those classes at all as honors. You can take any class that you already are taking as H-option. You don't have to take any additional credits to be in honors. I just want to stress that because I'd always see 18 credits, that's like a whole nother semester I got to pay for. It's classes you're already taking. You want to take my class as honors H-option, all you do is approach me and you say, Dr. Romey, I want to take your class as H-option, what would that involve? Some professors might say, well, that would involve you doing X, Y, and Z. I will never do that. I want this to be projects that serve you, right? So what I will say is, what interests you? Let's figure it out. It could be a presentation, it could be an extra paper, it could be an existing paper, and you say, you know, I really want to get better at writing. And those of you who've had classes with me know that I will at least once a semester stand in class and rant and rave about writing and why you should care. Well, hey, that's a way that I could give you even more feedback, where I've had students write an existing paper, expand it, and submit it multiple times, and I keep giving you feedback more times, right? All those are options. There's many other options, right? This can be up to your wildest dreams of whatever you and the professor agree upon, sign a contract to say, this is what makes my existing class H-option or honors. Okay, so one caveat is you have to take at least one class that's not music as honors or H-option, right? But only one. You could take all music classes except for one. And what I will say to you is you could pick a class outside of the School of Music. If you're a music educator, you could pick an education class in the School of Education and do a music project for that class to make that, as long as the class is honors, whatever project you do is fine. My wife teaches in the Spanish department here, and I've had her talk to students about music education students who are taking Spanish classes, and I said, well, there's a really interesting book about El Sistema, this nationalistic education project in Venezuela. Why don't you have the student do a report on El Sistema in Spanish, because it would be a Spanish language and culture kind of thing, do a presentation for the rest of the class, boom, your Spanish class is now honors. I just want to stress that this is not a lot of extra work. I think when you're getting bombarded with emails from the Honors College, sometimes it feels like I can't handle anything else. It's not really that much more. And then at the end, you have to do an honors project, which can be a project that you're already doing in your field. If you do like some kind of thesis in your field, you can make that your honors project. It just has to have an honors component, right? So it doesn't have to be anything extra in that case. Okay, so by the numbers, we have right now 18 of you currently honors active. It's a lot more than 18 in the room. We graduated 2 in the spring, honors. I hear a woo, so someone over here is honors. I can't see anything without these right now. It's just a blur. So we can see 2 music and outside field, 2 music therapy, 3 education, 5 music industry, 4 pop music, and 2 music performance. So it's pretty spread out. What you can't see on these numbers is that this does not include anyone in this room right now who is currently taking, for the first years, taking their first class, right? You're not active until you finish your 3 credits, your first 3 credits class. So this is really second year, third year, and fourth year, and you can see it's pretty evenly spread out, where we have about 5 or 6 in every year. We'll probably have about 5, because I know some are taking classes right now with me as H option, who are not included in this 18. 18 honors active, and I see a lot of faces out here. 144 out of 280-something students in the School of Music are eligible to join the honors program right now, which suggests a couple things. One, we have really great students here, and we should support you and encourage you to do this, right? It's beneficial to you. But it also suggests we're not doing a great job of convincing you that you should do this when that many of you are not doing it, when it doesn't take that much to do it, right? So part of that is what my role here as honors liaison is, to convince you to do it, but also to be here to help you, right? Before I took this over, I knew I had some students who just were confused about a lot of this stuff, but also sometimes faculty don't know what H option is. It's really easy right now to say, I see some smiles under the mask right now, but it's really easy to say, you don't know what it is, send the professor to me, I will talk to them, we will work it out. I can help them figure out what kind of project might be appropriate with you, right, in coordination with you, and I will really help you. I can help you pick classes that you might want to take as H option or honors. That's what I'm there for. I have office hours twice a week. I sit in my office alone. It's week 6. I've had 1 student so far show up to office hours. 2 is tomorrow. That's not great numbers either, so I'm there. I'm also very open to meeting you outside of my office hours. We will find time to talk. I want to convince you to do this. I want to support you while you do it, and I hope that you think that some of this stuff is pretty cool and doesn't really take a lot of work to get some things like free money. When I was an undergrad, I was really poor living in New York City. I would have loved $1,000 to do something every semester. I would have been jumping all over it, so I hope you do too. So just before I stop talking, one final thing is, I hope in the longer term to build some community with this idea of honors students, because I've had my first honors student last spring, or fall, the fall before this one, basically didn't know anybody else in honors. I asked, how many other music students are there? I don't know. Well, there's 18 of you and no one knows the other students often, so I hope to do some events for honors students. We're going to do this semester alone. We're going to start with the first one, where we're going to basically have provided coffee, tea, pastries, donuts, and hang out and just have a meeting to get to know each other. See, I want to get some feedback from you about your experience in the program, but also I want you to all know each other, and I hope to do other kinds of events where we plan things together. If you are interested in honors, you could stop by too and have a chat. It's a good time. We're going to probably do it in the conference room upstairs, I think. Look for an email from me. I will be emailing honors eligible and honors active in the coming week or so, about both of these things, about, hey, if you're honors eligible, come on, let's, all you got to do is talk to me. I will definitely, you can take any of my class as H option. I love working with honors students. I often learn a lot myself. It's why I do this job. It's to keep learning, and sometimes I get papers that are, well, pretty much every honors project I've had, I've learned quite a bit, and it's been quite gratifying for me. So, that is basically what I have to say, except there's my email in case you have questions about this. I can answer any immediate questions, but that's my spiel. I hope I'm selling you not a cheap used car, but a nice Ferrari that you want to take off the lot. So, any questions? All right, well then, thank you. I will turn it over to Dr. Price.